Welcome back to Big Boys for a special bonus episode, or the Crenshaw Chronicles. In this episode, our listeners will finally get some closure. My foray into investigative journalism finally uncovers why pharmacists don't use the title doctor. The truth is finally revealed on this episode of Big Boys.
We're recording now, man. So,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, different space I'm in now. I'm in the lovely land of Crenshaw. I'm not sure if you're aware of that area of LA here.
You are in a different space.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a room, so it's not like you can really like see, the visuals of the neighborhood I'm in or anything like that. But it's just to let you know, like you'll probably hear more active things happening in the neighborhood that I can't really control. Every once in a while, there seems to be a guy who walks around with like a USB portable speaker and like just walks around with it on his shoulder like it's 1989 and it says boombox. Yeah, and then there's like two dogs that are across the street from each other that I guess every once in a while they'll make eye contact with each other and be like, hey, fuck you, hey, fuck, like, dog and dog speak, I assume. But basically it's like, as far as I can tell, these dogs have been neighbors forever and they still just act like it's the first time seeing each other and just barking at random, times of the day.
That's just kind of how dogs are sometimes,
Yeah, dog's gonna dog. You know what I'm saying, dog?
Word. Yeah.
And then I'm also going to try to, I don't know, I'm trying not to be so self-conscious about the volume of my voice because I also feel like I'm sleeping in like a library. You know what I mean? Because it's like...
So where are you staying now?
So I'm technically in an Airbnb until June 1st.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm paying month-to-month rent out here, which comes out to about $1,000 a month. Like $31 a day or something like that. And... So yeah, and might be having a potential roommate who I need to call her after we get done with this, see what's up. I think she has a follow-up interview for a job out here. So, but anyways, her lease is up, and she's in Vegas right now. But her lease should be up in like at the end of June, and then I'm going to be out of here on June 1st. But I have another buddy I could stay with, and pay him almost about the same amount that I was paying to live at Kieran's place. Kind of a similar situation, just sleeping in a living room. So long story short is I have another place moving to in the works. It's just right now this is where I'm at for the time being, which is why I was saying I think perhaps over the next couple of months these will just be our quote unquote bonus episodes, and maybe we'll title them the Crenshaw Chronicles.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
We'll just document the adventures.
Crenshaw is all anyone needs to say.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of an alliteration pun going on. I dig it. Yeah. And it's
I feel like that's always notorious. Everyone always hears about Crenshaw.
Well, I hear there's a mafia down here.
Really?
Well, isn't that like a rap group or something? Crenshaw Mafia? If we could sound any whiter, this is... I hear there's a rap group.
Isn't that a rap group?
Yeah.
The Crenshaw Mafia?
Some of those hip-hop fellas are from this area, from this neck of the woods. Yeah, man.
That's their, I believe, how do you say it? Their hood?
Yeah. That's what they call it out here. Yeah, it's wild, man. But I mean, it's not, honestly, it's really not.
36 Mafia.
I think there's also a Crenshaw Mafia. But like, dude, honestly, like, I mean, most people do consider it more of the hood, I guess, out here, but it's really not vastly different from other parts of LA that I've been in. Like I can't even put it into words, like the homeless crisis out here of like, you could be in the finest neighborhood ever and you'll still probably, come out and there'll be a homeless person, within eyesight. It's bad out here, man. Yeah. So even your best, I guess what I'm trying to say is even your best neighborhood is still could be constitutionally from, the perspective of other less homeless active cities, a bad neighborhood.
Gotta lower your expectations, I guess.
Yeah. This is nice, man. I have my own parking spot. It's a little gated area. So, and I have my own private room.
Honestly, you could be doing a lot worse.
For sure, man. For sure.
Yeah.
And hey, you've been friends with me for, give or take 25 years, let's say. You know that I have done worse.
Yeah, you can and have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a testament to how I'm doing. To answer
your question here, that it's not a rap group. It's an actual gang.
Oh. Well,
yeah, you have the Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods, are a set of the Bloods Gang Alliance. Okay. Yeah.
Shout out to the Mafia members. I respect what you guys do. Not looking to join per se. I don't think you'll have me anyways, but you guys, you keep doing your thing, and I will won't put any stank on your name.
Yeah. There you go. It says that now what the crossover may be is it says they gained notability after being referenced in several movies, including Boys in the Hood and Straight Outta Compton.
Maybe I'm thinking because I don't really remember. Maybe they were referenced in Boys in the Hood, but I think Straight Outta Compton is what I heard it from. I don't know. I could have sworn there was a rap group though too, but maybe not.
I mean,
they could be the. They could be
there is a song.
Yeah, they could be in the arts
from a group called Bloods and Cribs.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Piru Love.
Pure Room Love.
Yeah, Piru.
Piru. Oh, like Peru, but like with an I instead of an E. Piru Love. What is that? Does that stand for something?
Yeah, like Peru, but with an I. I don't know.
It's well, it's just an odd word. I would think that's got to be like an acronym for something,
It's from their album Bangin' on the Wax.
This is just going to go down a rabbit hole of like just showing how white we are. Because what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Oh, it says makes reference to several Piru sets. So now we have to see what a Piru set is.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out what.
Pirus. The Pirus are an alliance of street gangs known as sets under the larger Bloods Alliance. So, yeah. So basically their album is about like sets of the Bloods finding love, I guess. Piru love.
That was very a poetic thing you just said there. Sets of the Bloods finding love. Yeah. Well, let's not get too far down.
It says, the name Piru is derived from the Piru Street Boys, a gang which was founded in 1969 by Sylvester Scott and Vincent Owens in Compton.
Okay.
Is considered the forerunners to the Bloods, which is why the term Piru and Blood is often used interchangeably. Huh.
I see.
We learned a little bit about the history of street gangs today.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe we shouldn't dig too far down this rabbit hole because once again, you never know who's listening. I feel like somebody's gonna like knock on my window and be like, actually,
Yeah. Yeah, let's not ruffle any feathers here.
Let's not. Let's keep those feathers intact. I'm curious, but not so much to where I'm gonna, do any investigative journalism. Which, by the way, did you ever get that prescription refilled?
I did. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So I asked why they don't go by doctor.
Mm-hmm. And this is just for context. Or maybe we have a new listener. This is in reference to an earlier episode when you said you were going to ask your pharmacist why they don't go by doctors.
And I did. I followed through. So it happened exactly like I said. She was like, "Do you have any questions for the pharmacist?" I was like, "Actually, yes." And so that's what I asked her. I was like, it's a 4-year graduate degree. Why don't they go by doctor?
And then she just died inside.
Yeah, you could see it in her eyes. She kept a real straight face. So a lot of what it came out to was, it seemed like she was like, well, it's just not customary. But she did say maybe some of it is for confusion. You know, you got the doctor, their pharmacist, you don't want confusion. But a big thing she said was, I guess it didn't used to be a doctorate degree.
Interesting. Okay.
So she was saying sometimes older pharmacists, they are not doctors.
Really? Okay. Well, that brings us further into our older discussion there, because I was not aware of that. Of course, I'm not.
Me neither.
Clearly, I'm from this conversation. People have gotten the context. I'm not aware of much, but yeah, I didn't realize that they upgraded the degree you need to be a pharmacist. Was it just a standard, master's degree?
It was just a bachelor.
Oh, what?
I guess so.
Yeah, that seems highly uneducated to be dealing out medicine. I mean, yeah. I also get that, like, they're not giving the prescriptions out, but like still. Yeah. Especially
they're not literally handing them to you, but they're the ones that like have oversight over everything.
Well, I was thinking in the our Jimmy Stewart take of, like back in those days, and I got to assume that's when they were just a bachelor's degree, is they were actually, measuring out how much medicine goes into each, prescribed amount. It seems.
Well, if you want to go back then, I mean, they probably didn't even have a degree. You probably did like an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Back in like the 30s.
It was just who was ever the quickest to say they were a doctor became the doctor of that town.
Yeah.
It's like calling shotgun.
Why do you think they needed George Bailey to stop the Mr. Clower from poisoning that kid? Yeah.
But no.
No, it wasn't Clower. It was Gower.
Yeah, he's a trusted pharmacist. We know because he was the first one to step up and said he would do it in this town. Back off, James.
So that's the best answer I've gotten, is older ones aren't. So basically what we concluded was like, it's not really customary right now, but in 25 years, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that first part of that answer, that it's, not as customary, to me sounded like she was just trying to say that and to see if, like, okay, is that going to be enough to get this idiot out of my fucking booth? And then you were like, uh-huh. And then she probably went deeper into the detail because it's not customary. Kind of obvious. But the part about it, that it wasn't a doctorate degree beforehand, that's news. Hey, we just brought that to the masses, along with what a Peru is.
Peru?
I mean, we are educating the masses in this episode, man. That's what this podcast is about, Educating you. That's
what I'm saying. We're not shying away from the tough questions.
We are not, man. Educating you on the streets and the pills you take before you hit the sheets.
So what I'm seeing here, too, to what she was saying, it says traditionally it was a Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy. It was the first professional degree for pharmacy practice, but in 1990, the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy mandated that a doctor of pharmacy would be the new first professional degree. Yeah.
Okay. Who makes these mandates, I guess? Is this a nationwide thing?
Beginning with the class of 06. So it's actually relatively new.
Damn. Yeah. So like around the people that were graduating around our time,
Yeah.
They are the first true, in our eyes anyways, pharmacist. Well, that's interesting, though. That means like every, old man or lady pharmacist that I've seen throughout that time leading up to being in high school just had a bachelor's degree. Or that's all that was required of them anyways.
But you got to think that's a pretty lucrative career for just a bachelor's degree.
Hell yeah, it is, man. Yeah, make some decent money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the
and also, while we're on the subject of investigative journalism, I have a new one that I'm going to dive into.
Oh?
Eating at hospital cafeterias. So, I don't know why more people don't do this. So, I was recently, my father had a procedure. We were in the hospital. Me and my mom ate breakfast at the cafeteria in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually surprisingly impressed by the food. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like 5-star Michelin restaurant food, but it was a lot better than like all the jokes you hear about hospital food. That's for sure. I mean, it was at least like diner quality food.
And you're wondering why your average patron isn't visiting more of the hospital cafeterias like they're going to a Luby's?
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. I was like, because it was well priced.
Oh, I was going to say,
there's no way you're eating that good at just the local breakfast diner.
Is that honestly just your question? Is that why aren't more people like just paying the parking fee to get into the hospital and just to go there, their own goodwill, their own good intuition for like no reason? They're not there to see a relative or a friend or anything like that. They just want to eat in that sweet hospital cafeteria. That's the questioning.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that? Well, I think I answered it partly in you generally have to pay for parking when you go to a hospital, so that's going to rack up the bill a bit. Two, I think you just covered it though, because I was going to say it depends on which type of hospital food you're eating. Because some of them do have like actual legit restaurants inside the hospital, which is a little bizarre to think about nowadays, but they do have them now. And some of them are just the straight up cafeteria. Now, are we just talking solely about the cafeteria?
Yeah, but I mean, or at least that's what it was here.
Yeah. So
they had a Subway, but I'm not worried about that.
Right, but the actual cafeteria. So your bill is charged to you in two different variations. You know, obviously you can sit down, or how does that work? I guess it is kind of like Luby style when you just go into the actual cafeteria and eat, right? You get a tray.
Yeah, basically what it was like they had like a breakfast buffet over here. Now it wasn't self-serve, but you basically go through and be like, yeah, I'll have some biscuits with some gravy and give me some bacon and sausage patty. Throw a couple pancakes in there, and they put it all in a styrofoam container.
All right, well, we're not bad mouthing.
That was like
place.
$4.
I'm trying to think here. Like, yeah, we could say what was the hospital? Which one were you at?
It was Harris Methodist in Fort Worth.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I don't know that all hospitals kind of get down like that, to be honest. Like when I think of like you're eating hospital food, and I imagine a lot of people think in this regard, it's you are the patient and you're having it carried to you tray via nurse. And then of course your bill for that food is getting added to the tab of your insurmountable hospital bill. But I'm sure the insurance companies just love to pick up the check for that.
Yeah, see, I've been looking at it. I've been thinking, here in town, the hospital's just up the road. And so I've been thinking, one of these days, heck, I'm off work tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go over there and see if I can eat at the cafeteria.
Maybe they have
based on a preliminary Google search. I'm not the first one to think of this. Yeah. No,
there's, as much as unique as you are, John the Great, you're not the great out there. There's other people that have explored your diet as well. What do you think? Do you think they got like a Rosa's type of special for like Mondays or something? Like,
the only thing I see is
bun?
The hospital here in town, they got weird hours, only from like 7:30 to 10 a.m. and then 11 a.m. to 1:30. So like that rules out dinner.
Because it's not, God damn it, man. It's not ran like a regular fucking restaurant. The hospital hours go with the hours of the rest of the staff. I mean, yes, there are overnight nurses and stuff, but like you got to think about what's keeping the building open. It's not other fucking guys like you that are looking to eat all hours of the night at the hospital. Like they got to save money somewhere. Like they're not going to keep it open. Just like, wonder if this long-haired guy who likes to come in, doing drum beats on his stomach has other friends that want to come in at all hours of the night to eat our.
But that doesn't make sense though, because what about, like you said, staff that works all hours?
Yeah,
what about like people visiting patients at other hours? So
for sure they have break rooms there, and I could attest as being a former DoorDasher, a lot of those hospital employees order out or, get delivery.
Yeah, but you got to think DoorDash is relatively new. Like in the grand scheme of things, like what were they doing before?
Yeah, but ordering takeout or, it wasn't unconscionable that more than one nurse is on staff, and when one's on a break, the other one's covering for them, so they can go and get food, or they bring their food with them. Why are you acting like this is something like you haven't thought of or heard of before? I mean, like just about every occupation has had that scenario where they don't have a cafeteria within the building. Very, very few occupations, have that, John.
I know, but if only.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're kind of halfway there, working at a large, supermarket. You kind of have that luxury, but you don't take it, I wonder how
I buy food inside sometimes.
Yeah, but like, how would they react with like, hey man, you can't, like, you work here, you can't just go around taking all the free samples for your lunch break?
I don't know. I've never tried that. That's a good thought.
I'm honestly perplexed that you haven't. This is wild.
Honestly, the free samples are usually by a third party, so I don't think they'd care.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so they wouldn't really recognize you.
So we got a couple things to try out now.
Yeah.
Just going to the hospital and eating.
I feel like you gotta have at least a question or two for those. Like, are those traveling employees from whatever free samples they're giving out? Like, say it's like Johnsonville's bratwurst. Is it like a bratwurst representative just going from town to town, just dicing up sausage and handing out free samples? They're like a less sexy, No. I'm trying to think of a traveling salesman.
I get what you're saying. I'm honestly not 100% sure how it works, because I don't think they work for, like, for example, Johnsonville directly. I think there's like they're basically like a third party company that is like contracted to do like the demo, like a demo company. Not demolition, by the way.
Yeah, no, I got that. Really, you think? That just sounds like listen, hear me out right now, Johnsonville. That sounds like a waste of money if that is the case. Like, what is this third party company doing that's so fancy that like you can't wrap your head around of, dicing out the, product to be sampled and putting it on a tray and getting, feedback and writing down said feedback and a little, feedback chart. How is that?
Well, I'm sure a lot of this goes into like kind of like advertisement budgets. So they probably have a budget to get people into stores to demo it, because then they're going to sell product, and so it's probably accounted for.
What do you think they're doing? They're doing radio ads for the free samples. Like,
well, no, but basically, I'm just saying they budget for that. Be like, okay, well, hey, we can pay somebody X amount to give samples in the store, and based on our data, that raised sales, so they could decide if that's worth it.
Mr. Searles, I'd like you to step into my office. This whole idea of bringing in a third party, not only have we found in our own significant research to be an entire waste of money, but how did you end up being qualified for this job in marketing? You're fired.
Well, actually, a lot of people with my degree do kind of go into marketing.
Yeah, mine too. I feel like, our degree is just like, our type of degrees are generally like, well, I gave it 2 years. I got to find something else to do with this thing now.
Pretty much.
Yeah. We have the type of degree of like you fall into other type of work just because like, oh, well, you have a degree. You know?
Well, I'm trying to get there. So far, everybody's kind of just like, yeah, sorry, kid.
Not me, man. Yeah. You stick to your guns, all right? You wear your pride on your sleeves, okay? And you find yourself a 1-bedroom Airbnb in Crenshaw. And you let people know. People know I lived the dream.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Isn't this exactly where you saw yourself?
And in some ways, obviously not. But in others, you know, it's kind of a cool predicament.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am getting like, as much as I like to, you know, shit on my lifestyle and all that, like I am getting like a lot of auditions now, you know, and it has obviously nothing to do with living in Crenshaw, but you know, you could look at the wildly what most people would construe as negatives, but it's like, you know, this is more bang for my buck out here, and it's still safe, you know. Like I said, it's you know, it's weird because I feel like this area is more protected versus, you know what I'm saying? Like there's still, like you go, like I was saying earlier, you go into the nicest neighborhood with the exception of like paying taxes out the ass to live in Beverly Hills, where the cops just basically like kick a homeless person in the nuts and tell them to fuck off. Namaste. Like every other neighborhood, there's just homeless people wandering about, or, you know, and it's no different here, but like there's bars on my windows. Like there's no, like, very hard to break in here is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, that's nice.
Yeah. And it feels like I'm on a rant here of like, you know, talking shit again about homeless people, which I'm trying not to do. But I'm just trying to say, like, whereas like there are more opportunities when you're down on your luck and you see an opportunity where you can, I don't know, easily steal some shit. Like there's not bars on a window and somebody just has a window open. You're more likely to steal there than rather, you know.
Yeah.
Where you got to do more work to get into something that is, yeah, less likely has more valuables. Does that make sense? Probably not.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, like a deterrent is what you're saying.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I just let the mouth spew diarrhea, John. And sometimes it comes into a formidable sentence. Other times, not so much. And I think I'm showing that here today.
That's the way it goes.
It certainly does when I talk.
Same, for the most part.
Yeah. Dude, so I talked with Summers the other week. Pretty cray, huh? He's getting ready to have that baby.
I know, it's pretty wild. That leaves basically just us.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, he's still going to exist as a person, but yes, he will be busy as a father. We are the...
well, I meant that don't have kids.
Yeah. Or wives. Or homes.
Chris does, Aaron.
Or careers that they are, you know,
successful
passionate. I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, because I am passionate about acting and stuff, but then if I talk to the wrong people, like, well, it's not really technically your career if you're not getting paid all the time for it. Like, well, you're technically not my friend if you always say things I don't want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you, sir, are technically a prick.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're technically not a nice person if you're saying mean things to me all the time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, yeah, dude, it's I was about to say, how did this happen? But I know exactly how it happened. But isn't it wild?
It just happens.
Yeah. Are you 30? You're about to be 34, right? Next month.
Unfortunately.
Hurry up and get there, man.
Yeah.
So I don't, feel so old here.
You've got that solid like 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, oh, wow. When I was 33 and like, some other guy got a lot of stuff done in that one year. Maybe I could be one of those.
Yeah. They hang out hope.
Yeah.
That could be me, right?
Yeah. Well, it turns out my carpentry skills weren't that great to begin with. So.
Is that a Harrison Ford reference?
Yeah. No, it was the guy who played Obi-Wan. What's Ewan McGregor? It was a Ewan McGregor reference.
Okay.
Oh, I love those.
Is he a carpenter too?
No, but there's so many great like posts of like people thinking like him as and his Star Wars character as Obi-Wan. People like making posts like thinking that like he's because he kind of looks a little Jesus-esque in his Obi-Wan.
Oh, I've seen that where it looks like Jesus.
Yeah. Like there were so many great happy Easter. He has risen. It's just
I've seen that. Yeah. I've seen that one going around where it's like my grandmother had this hanging up. Like,
yeah,
it was
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those are too good, man. Dude, we should have more to talk about than like. How can we already be stumped? I feel like there's been so much going on the past few weeks. So I've only been in here for going on 2 weeks now, I guess. Yeah, 2 weeks now, because I moved in here on the 1st, and within the first week, I had to pay $330 for a mo-fucking locksmith to get me back in here.
Good.
Yeah. It's like $330, dude. Like, I could have like purchased an axe, Jack Nicholson Kubrick style, like destroyed it and replaced the door for $330. But yeah. Well, what happened?
Just kick the shit in.
Well, what happened was I was in here wrapping up season 1 of our buddy's show that he's not on yet, but he's going to be in season 2. So I'm getting ready for season 2. So I was wrapping up season 1, and the way that this works here, I don't know if I explained that to you. It's everyone has a private room, and it's got a lock on it. So just subconsciously, as I was going to get another Coca-Cola out of the fridge, I was just chilling at home watching stuff here on the laptop, which, by the way, most of my stuff's still in storage. And I just watch stuff on my laptop and keep the headphones in because, again, I feel like I'm at a library, and I don't want to, I don't want to be the guy who destroys the solitude of quietness that goes on in here, because I can never hear anything coming out of the other rooms. But that's why I'd be like subconscious about bringing in my 52-inch TV and just watching it, because I feel like, they could totally hear it. And again, that's why I'm self-conscious about the level of my voice on this podcast as well. But I digress. I was going in to get another can of Coke, and I was just kind of getting in the habit of always locking the door behind me, but I didn't have the keys on me. Yeah. And my phone and my keys were all left in here. And so, I had to knock on my roommate, but he feels more like a next door neighbor, and introduce myself to him. And I borrowed his phone for like a matter of like a minute. And he's a really nice guy. He's really cool about it. I already forgot his name, but really nice guy. But his phone was only on like 1%. So it wasn't like I was going to spend the whole time just like looking for a really good deal on a locksmith. I just Googled, locksmith near me and called that. And like the fees, dude, insane. It's like a $75 fee.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Just for calling the place. Somehow it all worked its way up to being $330. And then the guy had the nerve to ask me at the end, like, would I like to add a tip? It's like, like, are you insane, dude? Like, I'm just thinking of, like, you know, I've had, like, and it's a bedroom door. You know what I mean? Like, it cannot be that hard to break into versus like a deadbolt or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I've had way more, you know, harder locks to get into that, like, you know, you pay a locksmith in Texas, it's $50, you know, flat rate.
Man, I had to have one out one time. This was a number of years ago. I think it was when all three of us still lived together. Locked my keys in my truck. Now, granted, he probably stuck it to me because it was like late at night. You know, he had to get called out.
Mm.
But I remember they were like, well, it could be between like 80 or like $250.
Jesus.
And of course, it ends up being like $250. Like,
God, what did he like? And that makes, I mean, you have a standard truck door, man. It's not like, yeah. I don't know. I guess what.
Oh, once he was there with his tool, it was like he was like right in.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, dude, yeah. If I had the income to invest in those tools, man, that is like straight profit after like your third, at the rate that this guy was charging. Like after your third lock you get into, you paid for the tools. You know what I mean? Like, good Lord, man.
Yeah.
Insane.
Honestly, that's kind of one of those rackets you could just do. I don't know what kind of training you need. Probably depends on like how specialized.
Well,
but I think like
I have
you
broken
can kind of charge whatever.
Yeah, like I have broken into one of these doors before. Allegedly, back in my using days, I may not worked in an airport that was under construction, and I smoked weed in one of these rooms that was still under construction, and got like really stoned, and then I stoned me, left my bag with all the pot and stuff inside the room as I locked it. Kind of the same scenario here. It wasn't a deadbolt. It was just a standard lock. But I was able to break back into it because I had my phone and my wallet on me, and looked up a YouTube tutorial on how to like break into one of those locks. And basically all you need is a credit card. I mean, it will ruin your credit card, but you know, my credit was already ruined. So therefore the card was not an issue to ruin.
It's worth the risk.
Yeah. Well, especially when it was like, this is kind of putting my job on the line of like somebody's going to come in here and they're going to find a bag where it probably had my name on it, filled with pot. And like it probably would smell like I just
and a bunch of identifying information.
Yeah. So, but yeah, all I did was, it was hilarious because I actually needed both those items. I needed the credit card and the phone to watch the video, and then I ended up using the phone to hammer the credit card to open it. So if I had my,
and it worked.
It worked, dude. Yeah, and I could honestly do that to any of these doors here. Like you could do that to a bedroom door. If, like I said, it will ruin your credit card, but like if I had a credit card that I didn't need anymore, and it has to be like a credit card, it has to have something that has like a magnetic strip on it. Like it's got to be like a harder card. It can't just be like most gift cards probably won't work, but like an actual debit card or like a real credit card, something that's a little bit thicker, that'll do it. But it will, you know, it will fuck up your card, but it's just enough space to where it will like get in between, and you can pound it and then pop it open.
Well, hell, I got a couple, like, I think, like an old gift card in there, you know, or something.
Well, gift card may not work, but here's the way you should look at it, though, is like, it costs what, like, at most $10 to replace, you know, a debit card versus $330 for him to do the same damn thing, because that's all he did is he took the little gas, you know, or you know, where he basically essentially did the same thing with the AirPad or whatever and popped it open, because apparently these locks, which I guess is a good thing, but like I just told you, like you don't have to be able to pick it to get into it, because that's all he did was the same scenario. Essentially, he did the fancier version of what I did at the airport. But like these have the 6-pin locks, which is harder to pick. But you could still just pop it open because it's not a deadbolt. If it was a deadbolt, you wouldn't be able to get in.
I mean, you could get a bump key, like one of the. It's like a.
That's what I'm talking.
Lockpick thing.
I think that's what we're saying the same thing. It's like it spaces out the door from the frame.
No, this goes in the keyhole, kind of like a lockpick. But instead of sitting there picking it, you just you pull like a trigger on it, and it just basically. I guess it's kind of like an automated tool to just rake it or something.
Oh, it sounds like it destroys the lock then.
It might. I don't know.
Yeah. Which that was the other thing too. The guy was like, and if I can't pick it, then I'll I'll have to break it open or whatever. But if I break it, then you get half off. And like when he told me that, I was like, God, I hope he breaks something. I hope he breaks something. Because at this point, it was like, if I had known what the price was going to be before he came out here, I would have been like, no, thank you. I will find some other way. I'll sleep in the hall until I can get, a better locksmith or something. But I had already gotten out here and I'd already asked that guy who I barely know. Like I didn't want to go through the whole charade again. And fortunately I had the money to do it. So I just did it. But
yeah.
I could have had a really, really nice headshot session, for $330. Would have got a lot of decent angles of this dome. What a waste. But yeah.
I'm reading about a bump key here, but yeah.
Yeah, what are we learning?
I mean, it seems like they'll work on simpler locks.
But what does it do though? Does it destroy the lock?
No, it doesn't. It says the bumper, so I guess that's you. Needs to bump the key hard enough to jar the pins, but not so much. Nice. But not so much that the lock or key is damaged. Bumping the key causes the pins to jump slightly. Even this slight amount of motion is enough to allow the bump key to turn the cylinder, unlocking the lock.
Okay, well, it sounds like they're just trying to coin a new terminology there, because it sounds like the bumper is the same thing as the lock picker, because there still sounds like there's a technique to it.
Well, this is, but it's like a key. It's not like a lock pick where you're going through and feeling through the.
Mm-hmm, but you still have to do. I mean, it's a different kind of lock pick. But it's still a lock pick.
Basically, it's just a different kind and
different pattern,
like a different technique.
Yeah.
It says all the cuts on a bump key are made to the maximum depth. So any key blank can be made into a bump key.
Well, when I'm bumping, I'm always bumping to the maximum depth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it says they're specific. Bump key. So it says a quick set lock requires a bump key made from a quick set key. The same is true for other lock brands. So a full set of bump keys would include one for each of the major lock manufacturers. Huh.
Well, there you go. That's another nice little tidbit for the day.
Of, but still.
No, to be honest, that all just kind of confused me a little bit more. But that just sounds like a more boring rabbit hole to go down. Like, I think I'd only be interested in that if I was locked out again right now in this moment. But because I'm not, I don't give a shit. And I got to think that a lot of our listeners are just as ADHD as I am. And if I'm not giving a shit, well, I got to assume they don't either.
I guess there's literally a lockpick gun. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that...
I'm going to see how it works.
I wonder if that's ever been... Yeah, find out how that works, and then also find out, has it ever been used to, kill someone or give them a lot of lobotomy?
I don't think so, but here's a guy using one on a master lock. Yeah, I mean, it works like within seconds.
Yeah. It's like...
master locks are notoriously crappy.
Not only does it work on this master lock, it also worked on my master brain. And he just shoves it up his nose.
Yeah. Just like drool or snot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people pick master locks. Everybody's always like, "Oh, this lock's secure," and then it's not.
No, dude. Yeah, master lock that's probably like a 5-pin. You know, if I have a set of key, well, my keys are over there. But like, yeah, that's the other thing I learned whilst this guy was telling me why this was going to be so damn expensive. Apparently, the 5 little key marks or whatever, those are the easiest ones to pick. It's 6 and 7 that are harder. And most master locks only have like 5 little pins, I guess, or what you'd call them.
You can usually get into them just with a rake, like a little pick. You get your little torsion bar and just rake it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I think in a past life I was a locksmith, because I know how to do that too. You know.
Honestly, with just a little bit of messing around, you can kind of get one.
Yeah. You remember there was some weirdo who went to school with us that used to literally just like, he would show up at lunch and he would just have a door handle and a lockpick he would bring with him. And I honestly remember.
I don't remember that.
I don't even remember which person it was. I just remember them bringing that, and like every once in a while, like, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. And I was actually able to pick the lock pretty fast.
I feel like I would like to remember who that was.
Me too. Nah, I don't know. Maybe that just gives a little our viewers and listeners a little bit more insight into what a sociopath I am. That I remember picking the lock more than the person who gave me the lock pick.
I know I had a friend who was trying to learn how one time, and he was practicing on a master lock, and it's really not that hard.
No, dude, yeah, for sure. I'm telling you, man, those 5 pins ain't shit. It's the 6 and the 7s.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know a combination lock's easy. You either just smash those off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can we even consider that lock breaking? I mean, yeah, you are breaking the lock, but like, that's just breaking shit. It's
True.
Not really.
But I know you can get into those. I've seen it where they'll like take part of like a tin can, like a Coke can, and you can kind of rig it up into a little key. It slips down in like where the lock loop is.
Oh, where you reset the combo? Like how you get to reset it?
Well, you've got like the combo on the face and then the loop up top. And it basically just wraps around the bar and like slips into there and just slips it open. Yeah. There's a term for that device and I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know. I feel like it's got to be in some pickup artist's pamphlet, right? Like, I feel like these are all like terms that, like, you know, somebody back in like 2007 on VH1 would be like, you got to think of women like a lockpick. Ignore the fact that they're human beings and have thoughts of their own, but look at them in devices that you unlock. Like, you see, I wear this fuzzy hat, and that gets me like the first number in the lockpick. And hey, where are you going? And that's, you know.
Guys. Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. I wear a fuzzy hat and have black fingernails. I know women.
That's what they call peacocking. Yeah.
Oh God. How did that ever, like, I don't know. I feel like dudes are just so goddamn dumb across the board of like, how did nobody just know, like, huh, man, I guess he says he's really good at women. Chicks hang around him. He must be really good with women. Or wait, maybe he pays them to be around him. That couldn't be it.
Maybe he's a television personality.
Yeah, like, that's my point. It's just like, maybe he's selling me a product. Nah, that can't be it. He wears a hat.
Yeah. This guy wasn't like, you know, one of 100 people who auditioned for the role on this show.
Yeah. Well, anyone who was like
3 weeks ago, he wasn't just some schmuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, who am I to judge? I'm a fucking pea-brained idiot myself. You know?
Dude, but I mean, it just goes to show you, like, I mean, like 90% of what men do is trying to get women.
I think
so
it is.
If any guy's like, hey man, this guy's selling me this snake oil that seems like it'll make getting women easier. I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah. Well, as time goes on, as much as human beings try to distance ourselves from the apes, like we partake in so much behaviors where it just time and time again shows like we are just goddamn well-dressed chimpanzees and really not much more.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. As smart as humans are, we're also extremely dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's also, I'll go one further.
That is just,
I'll say that there was like one.
nature.
Yeah, there was one video I saw, where like I don't know if it was chimps, but it was some other type of monkey, like where they're I'm so goddamn dumb. I can't even think of the right terminology, but like their memory span, that's not the right word, is far greater than humans, because ours has been so dumbed down to where like we don't have to like retain they were showing a test between, I think it was chimps and human beings, of like a board of numbers or whatever, right? Like it was just flash of like, if you press these numbers, whatever, into a pattern, you get treat. And the humans across the board lost because they like, it would just be a flash of like, oh, here's, it's kind of like Sudoku, I guess. You figure out this puzzle real quick, you'll get a treat or whatever. But like, humans, especially since the dawn of like the cell phone or the smartphone, I guess, of like, we don't really retain that type of information for that long, especially now because we don't have to anymore, because we literally have the whole world in our pocket.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I think short-term memory as an average has probably really gone down.
Yeah. Hence the death of of Jesus Christ, talking about short-term memory loss. What we were just talking, pickup artist. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's an exact relation, but it does track now that I think about it. Since smartphones became smarter, like you see less of those guys, those charlatans of, well, I don't know. I feel like you still definitely see him for like, when it gets super ripped or whatever. Like, by the way, have you seen like the saddest version of that? It's like, there's some guy who like basically tried to make it look like he was on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about his product.
No, I haven't.
Fucking pathetic, man. Like, and you can immediately, like, I don't know, maybe just from working even a little bit in production, you can kind of tell. It's just like, wouldn't you, like, if you were really on that podcast, wouldn't you show the other clip with you having the conversation with him rather than just the one, that one shot of you talking? You know what I mean? Like,
he just has like, selected clips.
Well, it's just like of him talking into a microphone, and it's, set dressed to look like Joe Rogan's podcast. But of course it's just him talking to nothing. It's him talking to nothing, because I don't know if you ever watched like his show on YouTube or whatever, the clips, it's a 3-camera setup. They have, the camera set up on Joe, the host, and then a camera set up on the guest, and then of course obviously a wide. But it's while the guy's talking, it's just his, clip of him only. So you don't see who he's talking to, but it's clearly he's trying to infer that, he's been on big podcasts talking about this. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Well, the crazy thing is some idiot out there will buy it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
About, looks like he was on even if he doesn't realize Rogan or whatever, he'll be like, it looks like he was on a real legit like interview.
Well, what gets me is like, it's so stupid. Like, you're a fit guy and you're selling that you're, fitness. Okay, I could get behind that. I could believe that. But I lose so much respect for you as a goddamn person when you're trying to sell me into the charlatan ways of like, you've been you're clearly trying to infer that you've been on some huge podcast selling this shit, and like they haven't. Yeah, like just be straight up. Why you got to go the charlatan route? It's like all those guys of like, want a car like this? Like, I don't fucking know you just rented that Lamborghini for this shoot. You know, like.
Oh, and there's that one guy, I don't know his name. You always see his ads on YouTube. And he's always like, what I really want is knowledge. That's what's valuable. It's knowledge.
What? Yeah. I know I'm going to see this now because I know that our phones, take in everything we say and do now. So I'm sure I'll see this ad as soon as we're done recording this podcast. But I have not seen that. What is the profound reason for his seeking of knowledge, and what is he trying to sell you at the end?
I mean, it's all trying to sell you on his way of like how you get rich.
Oh God!
But he's always trying to sell. Yeah. It's like, and so he's kind of going into the whole knowledge is power angle.
And then he just leads you down a rabbit hole and that's why knowledge is power. Yeah. Kind of like ClickFunnels. Like what? Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power, just like the great Egyptian pyramids. And I'm all about the pyramids. And I'm scheming for a way that we can be like the great Egyptians. I'm up here, you're down here. You should get other people down here, and you could still be up here. And those down here people pay you and then me all the way up here, the top of the pyramid, at the top of the knowledge. I'm trying to get you to help me attain knowledge.
So I can be at the top. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to be knowledge. Knowledge gets paid the most. The eye of the pyramid. I think we just made our ad for YouTube right there. Hey, you want knowledge? Do you want all this? Everything you see in this background? We'll just CGI some Ben Franklin money going on in the background behind me. When what you need, brothers and sisters, is ClickFunnels. I don't know how or which was.
His name is Ty Lopez.
I hate his name already.
Yeah.
I mean, only because of the context of what you just told me he tries to sell. You know, he could have been named Jerry Maguire. I would still fucking hate his guts.
I mean, you're gonna recognize him when you see. You'll be like, oh, I've seen his like ads and stuff.
Is he another one? Does he also do the like, how do you get this in your garage? And it's clearly like rented like sports cars, or he's at a rental house that they use for like shooting reality TV shows or whatever. Like, yeah, that's how. Ask me how I got all this.
Kinda, but he's doing it like a selfie, like he's recording himself. He's in the garage.
Oh yeah,
Lamborghini and stuff.
I didn't mean literally like he's got two hands. Like, yeah, clearly he's doing what you're saying, selfieing it.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting.
That's pretty much it.
Just be straight up with your shit, man. Just be straight up. Like, hey, I want to make money off of you asking me about how to make money. If you could do that, I will make money. So ask me questions and I'll give you answers. They won't necessarily make you money, but they'll make me money and I'll be happy.
And that's what's important.
And that's what's important. And that's the key to happiness. Go. I'd like to make money now. Go. I'll be waiting right here.
Because I have that knowledge.
Yeah, I have the knowledge of putting my number on the screen. Here's this number. You call me. I charge you a rate per minute. And I will give you words that come out of my mouth, and you can interpret and incorporate that as knowledge, and I'll get money, and I will feel like I know more because I have more money. Go.
Yeah, and it'll all be words designed to keep you on the phone as long as possible because we have a rate here.
Yeah, and every time you decide that you're going to want to get off the phone, I'll bring you a question like, well, have you considered? And then enter whatever thing you haven't maybe considered, I hope. And then if you have considered that thing that I brought up, I'll bring up another thing and say, have you considered? And then so on and so forth. Like just be an honest charlatan. Is that too much to ask these days? I feel like there's like got to be like some, maybe in like some other countries, like some, laws. Like, how like, and like they can't sell like, I heard in like one country, like Subway can't classify their bread as actual bread. Like it's got to be under like the same like category of like cake, because it's like it's it's got so much shit in it that it's like not considered standard bread, because it's not great for you.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
But I feel like there's got to be like that for businesses as well. Like, hey, you can't call this a self-help thing if the only person who's getting helped from this is you and your bank account.
Well, I don't know. That's tricky, man. Like, because you can like weave through the law.
Well, I'm saying there should be weave prevention. There should be a Roundup weave killer law for these law weavers.
Okay. I see what you're talking about with the Subway bread. It was in Ireland.
Okay. Yeah, and it was like classified as like cake or something like that, right? I obviously heard this on another podcast.
Yeah, more or less. Based in Galway, argued that Subway's bread should be exempt from taxes because it's a staple food. It said, instead, the 5-judge court found that Subway's bread was a confectionery or fancy baked good.
There we go. That was,
as its sugar to flour ratio was nearly 5 times too high to fall within the legal standard of staple foods.
Confectionery.
But that's also going to be set by like their board in Ireland, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure their bread's chock full of sugar and carbs.
Whoa, easy. Hey, don't be firing shots at my peeps here, okay? I'm sure that Irish bread is as healthy as it gets. All right?
No, I meant Subway.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm going to say.
Yeah.
They don't say we look potato-faced for a reason, Yeah. that bread's as healthy as it gets. Doesn't matter, though, we'll eat the potatoes.
I don't know. Maybe it's potato bread.
Maybe. You would think, like, vodka would be a more prominent drink in Ireland, right? Because, obviously, potato-based alcohol. But, it's not... I mean, I haven't been to Ireland, and I'm generally all-around ignorant person. I can't stress that enough. But... it's not really like, it doesn't seem like they're one of their greater exports as far as alcohol. It's more, like stout beers and whiskey.
And whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I guess vodka is mostly produced from potatoes. Sugar, beet molasses, and cereal grains.
I tell you, man. Look, we opened with some knowledgeable stuff that we were giving to our returning podcasters, and we thank you guys for sticking with us, especially in our bonus episode phase. Which again, I don't know how many of these we're going to be able to churn out in the next couple of months. That's why I'm calling them bonus episodes, because it might just only be a handful of them, because I'm trying to get another place. My final place in the works, and then obviously stay on top of my doing my probation stuff, which is
that's number one.
Yeah, which, dude, it's so much, like, everything's like finalized essentially now, and don't quote me on this, but like my the stuff, like the hoops I had to jump through to stay living with Kieran, like all that's passed now, like all the like my transfer is complete. So now all I got to do with a new probation officer. Yeah, because like I'm in an Airbnb. That is technically not a permanent address. There's no lease associated with this. And also, so I had
problems.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like I went to a guy and was like, hey, is this going to be an issue? She's like, nah, just tell me, give me the address. Essentially just let me know where you are if I have to find you is essentially.
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, I just got to stay on top of my community service, and then I check in on a kiosk once a month, and dude, that is it.
Well, at least they're being like, reasonably cool.
Yeah, man. Well, I think I'm a low-level priority on this. I love
That's true.
this glorious city of angels, but as far as it's so crazy. Even I'm still digesting that I'm a man with a past now, a man with a record, but I am way, 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 way down on their list of people to worry about. Especially when I'm like, it's basically the last time I talked to him, it was just like, dude, you're fine. Like, just,
Well, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel like I'm the, the teacher's pet of probation guys, which is all the more reason of why I don't want to go to prison, because you don't want to be the teacher's probation guy going to prison. But yeah, dude. So yeah, it's not really an issue.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So, but anyways, it's been we hit the hour and 5 marker. I am
all right.
Gonna let you go, man, and do an opening for this episode, and I'll try to do a closing bit later, and then who knows, maybe we'll churn this out on Thursday.
All right.
And we'll see if we can get another one going. But it's I'm just prefacing, it's way less pressure for these next one. Like, if you got some shit going on, or if I got some shit going on, we're gonna handle that. And then the way I see it, even with probation, like, I'm not gonna be on probation forever. You know what I mean? But you and I, as far as time is told, we're gonna be friends. We're gonna communicate. So this is gonna be around. The potential for this, anyways, is gonna be around for years to come. So no need to rush. We're gonna have episodes.
Yeah, they'll be looking at it like 1,000 years from now.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, be like, look at this. Yeah. We found early footage from these two. Early footage from the first technological era.
Assuming somehow, some way, we find ourselves having kids, or clones, or whatever, or our great grandnieces or nephews are going to be doing their own podcast, a podcast where they watch our podcast, and then they're just Google what a pickup artist is.
Yeah. Who was Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah. These guys will not shut up about the Fast and Furious prophecy. Don't they know it becomes true in real life?
Wow, it was still around back then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but any hoozle, I'm going to go ahead and let you off, man, because I got to get ready for the old work and stuff. All right, I'll catch you later. Adios.
All right. Bye.
Well, wiggy, what do we think about that for a bonus episode, dear listener? Yes, that's our first bonus episode in a series of who knows how many. Maybe 2, maybe 5, maybe just 1. Time shall tell, dear listener. As time tells all stories for all of us who are storytellers, and some of us that are not. Oh, it was nice to hear that old John Boy followed up with his investigative research. Proud of the fella for that. I myself, dear listener, have been staying busy. Trying to stay at top of figuring out this finalized living situation. Not to mention, been getting a lot of auditions, which, certainly nothing to complain about. It's certainly something that I've been hoping to be on the receiving end for quite some time. It's just funny how that always works out. Now it's becoming a bit of a struggle to stay on top of them. I submitted one last night, and then I woke up this morning and saw I had 2 more voiceover auditions I had to submit before the end of the day. And so I had to record those in my car on the one day that it happened to be hot here in Los Angeles. Sweating in my car, trying to sound professional, doing voiceovers, and then using the old GarageBand to shoot them out. But I got them done, and I'm glad to be staying on top of them. It's good to have things that fill your day, dear listener. Whether it's sweating like a human hot pocket in the front seat of your Ford Fusion, trying to sound like a well-established salesman and not a guy sweating with an apron on because you were just chopping potatoes 5 minutes beforehand. It's good to have things like that to keep us busy, or community service, where you get to be of service for the community. Whether that's vacuuming, carpet, changing light bulbs, going through the answer machine of bizarre and mostly sad voicemails. But that's a whole nother humbling experience and story there. Oh, the Crenshaw. What a journey it's been thus far. It's 4:20 today, as of this recording. And it's interesting. Well, I guess I can still say I'm celebrating it in spirit, but to not actually be actively partaking in the smoking or ingesting of marijuana on April 20th. It's been a while. It's been many 420s since I've done that. I'm not gonna lie. It only feels different because now I'm just consciously, not partaking in any drugs or alcohol. But when I was, though, it's not like I really went out of my way to celebrate it. I still huffed and puffed like a freight train, chugga that beer and chewed that weed every day all the same. What I'm saying is your boy didn't need no holiday, okay, to celebrate, alright? That shit's for Madonna. This man, no. He could celebrate whether he lives in his sister's basement or in a Airbnb in Crenshaw. And now he can do it without the aid of drugs and alcohol. And it's not that bad. It just feels weird, I guess. I kind of didn't even really think about it all day. Maybe it's because I go to AA instead of NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous, but even though marijuana is not a narcotic, I digress. When you're in a AA room, it's on St. Patrick's Day. It's inescapable that someone's going to bring up, hey, it's St. Patrick's Day, and we made it. But I guess most other alcoholics that don't identify as someone who partook in drugs, they don't. My point is that nobody brought up that today was 420 there, which I guess I found interesting. It's interesting being in a. This is gonna be the 420s of my future. I'm sober, knocking out auditions, getting some work in, doing a podcast. Not a bad life. Not a bad life at all, dear listener. And with that, I'd like to close with always. Como se llama hermana? Lo siento palapento. Good night, all my peeps in North Texas. And sweet, sweet, savory dreams to all of my fellow Angelinos. This has been a bonus episode of the Big Boys Podcast, Crenshaw Chronicles, Part 1. Toodaloo.
Big Boys is a podcast produced by Not So Funny or Proud Productions. The team consists of co-hosts, co-producers, and co-editors Bryan Hickey and John Sorrells, better known as John the Great. For more information about the duo or this show, please visit us at bigboyspodspot.com, or feel free to take a gander at our production page, notsofunnyorproud.com. Look us up on social media and follow us at Big Boys Podspot. New episodes drop every Thursday on every popular podcast hosting platform known to man. So please be sure to like, subscribe, vibe, describe, contrive, confide, collide, abide, preside, and tell your tribe, and most importantly, do prescribe. Me and Elixir for talking out the side of my neck.